How you doing? You know, once upon a time there was no such thing as the internet. What did you do? I hear you crying. Well, we all sat around the radio and shared the good times with the older generation. Well, not if we were listening to these guys, we didn't. Their entire career centered around the fact of not having the family listening because you wouldn't enjoy it. I'm going to give you 10 of the most talked about radio hosts of all time. Enjoy. First off, we've got Man Cow, Matthew Muller, who's been caught in controversy since his inaugural season as a disc jockey on KYLD-FM back in 1993. Of his numerous stunts and skits that really stand out include blocking an entire freeway whilst he gave his buddy a haircut, emanating rumours surrounding Bill Clinton at the time, who reputedly held traffic up for an hour while receiving his very own Barnett Amendment aboard Air Force One. For the incident, Mancow was prosecuted, but didn't seem to curb his enthusiasm for troublemaking. He spent ludicrous hours of airtime bullying Limp Bizkit frontman Fred Durst, resulting in fans turning up at Durst shows with hatred-infused placards and leading him to storm off stage. Can't say I blame Mancow for that one, though. Top of the class. Sandilands. Being an Aussie, Carl has got an inbuilt ability to find things as offensive as the rest of civilized Earth. After all, he's as a nation built on pissing people off, drowning poor quality beers, and convicts. So it's no surprise then that his radio career has been littered with misdemeanors over the years, which came to a head in 2009 when a lie detector segment on his show forced a 14-year-old girl into admitting she was raped. What followed was a media tsunami, with Carl standing right in the slap bang middle. International news stations broadcast incidents, and really big advertisers pulled their commercials out. Oops, not so clever, Kyle. Liz Wilde. Well, Liz Wilde is regarded by some as the greatest female DJ ever, and they're wrong. Her show, which broadcasts such atrocities as Mickey the Irish Prick, and as one regular guest to have sex workers perform acts live on air, has never been far from controversy. Her entire career seems to be based on a cornucopia of lewd and needlessly antagonistic material. So it's fair to say that she earns her place on the list with just general everyday behaviour. Opie and Anthony. Greg Opie Hughes and Anthony Cumia met at a Long Island radio station, courtesy of a mutual appreciation of scathing impressions of O.J. Simpson. There they began a professional relationship destined to upset as many people as possible. Yep, since this chance meeting, Opie and Anthony have gone on to bigger and better things, including such capers as encouraging couples to have sex in public for the Sex of Sam stunt, having a gentleman on the show who lamented about how much he'd love to rape Condoleezza Rice, and inadvertently convincing the mayor's daughter that her father had died in a car crash as part of an April Fool's joke. Russell Brand. Well, what do you know about Russell Brand, apart from the fact he's got the fashion sense of a cross-dresser from a Dickens novel? He's an actor, allegedly, with a history of stand-up comedy and heroin abuse. All of these things, and of course he was once married to Katy Perry. But that isn't all we know about him. Once upon a time, he was 50% of a radio duo on the BBC with the similarly dodgy-haired Jonathan Ross. Together, they managed to misjudge the severity of a prank played on the English comedy legend Andrew Sachs, whereby Brand called Sachs and then boasted in detail about the sexual encounters he's had with his granddaughter. Cue a massive press meltdown. Lawsuits that were threatened and front-page headlines lasting months, along with the official apologies and Brand and Ross both being sacked. Marconi Tiny. Question of the day. Out of the marvellous history of shock jocks, which you've heard about so far, what is so insensitive that in the USA it can actually get you kicked off of the airwaves? Well, Portland duo Marconi and Tiny found the answer. They played the audio from the religious decapitation of Nick Berg numerous times on their morning show, alongside comedy noises and a laughter track. The couple were apprehended by the studio bosses and by noon had been sent out onto the pavement, sacked, never to return. There are some people that find feces and urine disgusting. Those who don't are almost certainly already members of certain niche market websites, and those that do should probably avoid these two at all costs. Roland Fez have made a name for themselves with their scatological and basic rude humour, spawning such stars as Foulmouth Elmo, Crazy Mary, the amazing retard Martin, and Joe Pooh, who is a man who eats his own excrement live on air. As if Dan already covered surplus body matter, they then brought Joe P into the show, a child who drinks his own urine. Howard Stern. Howard Stern. Well, okay, he might not be particularly controversial anymore, but it is Howard Stern. The man who practically offended a nation, the original badass disc jockey, the radio personality so filthy that he had a film written about him. Stern single-handedly paved the way for the badly behaved DJs across the world with his profanity-laden, controversial radio show throughout the latter parts of the 20th century. You can't find a coincidental example of his controversies, as there's so many to choose from. So, just to remind you, he did make a woman achieve orgasm live on his show from the comfort of her own home by sitting on the speaker and riding his bassy hums. Quality. Steve Dahl, radio broadcaster, singer, songwriter, recovered alcoholic, and promotional riot organizer. If you're looking at the list and thinking that one of those roles in society doesn't exist, then you're right. Steve organised Disco Demolition Night, an event designed to destroy disco. In reality, it only destroyed the centre of a baseball field, resulting in 39 arrests and 6 injuries to members of the public. But if you're looking for controversy, this guy will hit the home runs all day long. Well, that was my list of the top 10 most controversial radio stars of all time. I hope you enjoyed it. Did I leave anybody off? Please leave a comment for me if you think I did. Did you enjoy the video? Please comment on that. And if you've got any feedback, I really appreciate all comments. Also, subscribe to my channel. You are going to be getting fresh content every single day. It's going to be varied. You never know what it's going to be. So please subscribe, stick around, and find out what's coming next. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Have a good week, a good weekend, a good year, a good life. And thanks again for watching. Bye.